Welcome to Get Solutions. In previous video, in this module 5, that is accounting for industry based standards, we have discussed IFRS 6, that is related to exploration for and evaluation of mineral resources, right? Okay, in this video, the next standard we are going to discuss, that is IFRS 14, that is related to regulatory deferral accounts or regulatory deferral account balances. Observe the image related to regulatory deferral account balances. See, there are two sockets and two plugs and water tap and water, right? So this water tap related to water board and these sockets and plugs related to electricity or electricity board. So by this IFRS 14, we are going to learn about how these boards will be going to charge and these boards will be regulate the rates to its customers and how those incomes will be represented in the financial statement by the firm. So these and all and accounting policies related to the various rates which is charged by the company or boards that will be must and should be represent and present in the financial statement. Let's see how the objectives and how the accounting policies will be going to represent according to regulatory deferral accounts. IFRS 14 was originally issued in January 2014. So this International Financial Reporting Standard 14 that you know already, that is, it is related to regulatory deferral account and deferral account balances. So which was issued originally in the year 2014 in the month of January. And these IFRS, that is this IFRS 14 standard applies to an various entities and corporate for first IFRS financial statement. That is, while preparing the first financial statement, this standard was applicable and applied by the organization after 1 January 2016 or on or after 1 January 2016. But this IFRS standard 14 was originally issued in the month of January 2014, but it is applied by an entity that is in preparation of the financial statement, that is beginning on or after 1 January 2016. That means mandatory from 1st January 2016 for the companies or the entities in which it will be engaged in rate regulation activity. That is, when the company charging the services based on the certain fixed percentage of rates to its customer, then it must be adopt the IFRS 14 to recognize the income in the financial statement, that is only as per the IFRS 14. Okay, so next, IFRS 14 is designed as a limited scope standard to provide an interim and short-term solutions for the rate regulated entities. So we know that already, that is when the IFRS 14 will be applicable to the company or corporate sector, in the sense when the boards and the entities will be charged the services based on the rate regulation, then it must be adopt the IFRS 14. So this IFRS 14 was designed and implemented in order to give the guidelines regarding the short-term solutions for the rate regulated entities. So why the guidelines is required to an entity regarding rate regulation, in the sense that is based on the certain percentage and based on the certain conditions only these entities will be going to charge the certain rates, that is fixed percentage of rates to its customer. For example, year to year the electricity bill will be going to change, that is it is further, for example, assume for commercial activity, the rate charged by the electricity board per unit is different, and for home, the rate charged for the one unit is different. So how these units will be differentiated, and why we are going to differentiate the different rates for the different sector and a different particular activity. So these rates will be regulated to any entities based on the IFRS 14. So that's why this IFRS 14 designed to provide the guidelines and the short-term solutions for the entities regarding to regulate the rates. By this, it will be going to charge to its customer for giving the services. So next, objectives of IFRS 14. So IFRS 14 specifies the financial reporting requirements for regulatory deferral account balances. So this means we know that already, that is IFRS 14 related to deferral account balances. So this particular standard is designed to gives the guidelines regarding the financial statement preparation, and also the requirements to prepare the financial statement, as well as the requirements to reporting the financial statements it contains, that is about the regulatory deferral account balances. So based on IFRS 14 rate regulations and the rate regulation conditions, the companies and the entities will be going to charge the rates. So how these rates will be treated? So these rates will be called as deferral account balances. So how these account balances, that is how these regulatory deferral account balances must be reporting in the financial statement. So it requires certain requirements to represent and present. So these requirements will be completely guided by the IFRS again. So we know that IFRS 14 is related to regulatory account balances, and it also gives the guidelines regarding the rate regulation about deferral account balances. So how these deferral account balances arises, in the sense that is, it will be going to, these balances will be arise when an entity provides good or services to its customers. So we know that all the companies, all the business organizations will be give the services and supplying the goods to its customers, but which company and which entity will be giving the services and supplying the goods to its customers based on rate regulation, then the company will be going to comes under IFRS 14. Means the company must and should be apply the IFRS 14 in order to treat the regulatory deferral account balances. So the first objective, once again I will going to repeat, IFRS 14 is specifies the financial reporting requirements for regulatory deferral account balances, which means IFRS 14 is implemented to guide and gives the various guidelines regarding to prepare and reporting the financial statement. These statements must be represents the regulatory deferral account balances. So these regulatory deferral account balances will be going to arise when an entity and a company will be giving the various services and goods to its customer, that is only the price at a price or a rate, so subjected to rate regulations. So all the services, all the goods supplied by the company only based on the certain price or rate subjected to the various rates regulated by the respective authority. So this is the first objective. So second one, make limited changes to accounting policies that were applied in accordance with previous GAAP. For example, if it is benefited to the company, then IFRS 14 allows to make the certain changes in the accounting policies. That is, if even though it will be going to change the accounting policies when it is benefited to the company, that must be prepared in line and accordance with the previous generally accepted accounting principles. Okay. Next, the scope of IFRS 14, that is related to regulatory deferral account balances. Okay, so IFRS 14 is permitted, but the scope says it is not required to apply where an entity conducts rate regulated activities. So the previous slide, that is related to objective. So what IFRS objective says, in the sense, when an entity is charged the services based on rate regulation, then definitely it will be going to apply the IFRS 14. But scope tells that the IFRS is generally permitted, but it is not required to be applied where an entity conducts the rate regulated activity. See the next statements, then you will get the idea why the scope says like this. That means why it is not applied to an entity, even though if charging based on the rate regulation. Okay, see, the IFRS 14 is permitted but not required to be applied where an entity conducts the rate regulation activities and has recognized the amount in the previous GAAP financial statement. So the first of all, before Ind AS, that is Indian Accounting Standard, we are normally using the previous GAAP. What is the previous GAAP for Ind AS? That is accounting standard, right? That already in the first class itself we have discussed, right? So before, that is for International Financial Reporting Standard, what is the previous GAAP? That is International Accounting Standard, that is IAS. So for IFRS, the previous GAAP is International Accounting Standard, that is IAS. For Ind AS, the previous GAAP is accounting standard. We are not completely ignoring the rules and regulations of the accounting standard. We have to follow, and we are following at present the certain rules and regulations of the accounting standard, but the updated version we called as Indian Accounting Standard. Similarly, the International Accounting Standard IAS, the updated version will be called as IFRS. So the scope, carefully understand, IFRS 14 is permitted, but it is not required to apply where entity conduct the rate regulations, because the reason, when the amounts will be recognized by applying the previous gap in the financial statement. So previous gap nalli enadru related to deferral account balances yav ತರ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದು, ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಏನಾದರೂ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗಿ IFRS 14 ಅದೇ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಬಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಟು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದೆ. So that you can understand, the IFRS is permitted, right, but it is not required to apply where an entity conduct the rate regulation, because the company at presently adopting the previous GAAP rules and regulations, that is also related to deferral account balances only. Then why it will be going to adopt IFRS 14 again the same rules? So both are same, that's why the scope tells like this. Okay, that meet the definition of regulatory deferral account balances. So this is the same sentence I have explained now. And see in the bracket, sometimes refer to regulatory assets and regulatory liabilities. So IFRS 14, that is regulatory deferral account balances. Sometimes these balances will be called as regulatory assets. Sometimes these balances will be called as regulatory liabilities, right? So see how, in the sense, for example, I am using 30 units of current for 1 month, that is per month. Okay, for 30 units I am using for 1 month, the electricity board charged 600 rupees to me. That is, this is the electricity bill. So this is the electricity bill. Okay, so this 600, so this 600 now, for me this 600 will be called as liability, that is regulatory liability. So this 600 will be regulatory assets for the electricity board, because I am paying. This 600 is payable by me to electricity board. Then the electricity board receiving the deposit of 600 from me, then it becomes an asset to the electricity board, and it becomes the liability for me. So that's why these regulatory deferral account balances sometimes will be called as regulatory assets and regulatory liabilities. So those assets and liabilities must be recognized in the financial statement as per IFRS 14. So the next concept, regulatory deferral account balance. See, the rate regulation can be created deferral account balance. Yes, ultimately when the company charging some service, that even company giving services, for services it will be charged a certain percentage, right? So ultimately when the company following the rate regulation, ultimately it will be going to create some balances. So these balances will be called as deferral account balance. Okay, so a regulatory deferral account balance, this is an amount of expense for the customer, and it is income to the entity, because it will be going to charge and giving the services. We are using the services based on the paying certain amount to the entity, right? So it is expense for the customer, and the same amount will be income to the entity. Okay, so that would not be recognized as asset or liability accordance with the other standards. So see, this rate regulatory deferral account balance is an sometimes will be called as expense, or sometimes it is called as income. So this amount will be not recognized by the assets and liability by other standards. Yes, of course, except IFRS 14, other standards cannot be recognized the balance as asset and liability, because the rules and regulations related to these type of income and expenses will be specified under IFRS 14 only. So based on IFRS 14 or IFRS 14 only recognize those balances as assets and liabilities in its financial statement, that is only based on IFRS 14. But these balances will be qualified to be deferral account balances. Ultimately the company charging the certain fixed percentage of amount to the customer, that is amount to the customer based on the services, right? So ultimately this will be called as balance. What balance? Regulatory deferral account balances. So these balance will be company recognized as an asset or a liability according to IFRS 14 only. So this is the deferral account balance. Why? Means because the amount is expected to be received or paid sometimes. Okay, so based on regulatory price charged by an entity to its customers. So why it is called that is regulatory deferral account balance, in the sense sometimes it will be called as income, that is sometimes it may be the income, sometimes it may be the expense. That is, think expense is for customer, income is for entity. Okay, so sometimes it is also income for the customer, sometimes it is also expense for the entity. How means? See, I will give you the example. That is, okay, for example, so this is the electricity line. Okay, so assume this is the electricity line, So I have the electricity meter, and so in my home I have various electronic devices. So for example, you take a single bulb, okay? You take the single bulb. Okay, now see, I am going to take the connection from direct line to meter. So from this meter, I am going to connect the wires to bulb. Now the electricity charges will be based on the running of bulb per day, right? For example, see, in this situation, the expenses to my home, and because of using the bulb, the company or entity will be charging based on per unit usage, right? So it is ultimately the expense per month. Even though if I am using the bulb, I am going to pay certain amount to entity, but the same amount will be income to the electricity board. If I am going to take the line directly from the line to bulb, then ultimately it will be the income for the my home or to me, because even though the bulb is running a whole day, we can't pay because it is not countable in meter, right? So ultimately it is income, it is expense to the entity, but it is illegal. So that's why the account balances, that is deferral account balances, sometimes will be called as income for the entity and sometimes expenses for an entity, and also the similar way it is sometimes income to the customer and also expenses to the customer. So the next last concept in this IFRS standard, that is disclosure. That is disclosure the information about, that is disclosure the information about the amount recognized in the financial statement by the company. Okay, so first disclosure, we have to disclose the necessary all informations that is related to the deferral account amounts, that is deferral account balances, that must be recognized by an entity in its financial statement. So what amount will be recognized in the financial statement by an entity, that must be disclosed according to IFRS 14. Okay, so that must be arise from the rate regulation. So how these balances will be arises, in the sense, because of charging the rates, because of regulating the rates to its customers, that you know, right? Okay, so second disclosure, disclose the financial statement and annual report to understood the amount and timings of generating the charges and unnecessary of future cash flows. So second disclosure, what it says, in the sense, we have to disclose the financial statement in order to understand the amount recognized in the financial statement, whether cash inflow or cash outflow, that is the timings. So on what time the balances, that is deferral account balances, will be generated. So the timings, in order to understand the timings of the balances and uncertainty of future cash flows from any regulatory deferral account balances. Okay, so uncertainty of future cash flows, in the sense, for example, I am not going to pay electricity bill for 3 months, right? So it is a cash outflow for me and it is cash inflow for the business entity. For 3 months non-payment, the company or entity will be going to charge the interest. It is future uncertain cash inflow or outflow. It is called as future cash inflow or outflow. So that's why the second disclosure will says that whatever cash inflows and future cash inflows or outflows that must be recognized and that must be represented in the financial statement to understand the total amount of deferral account balance and the total timings of payment and non-payment of the deferral account balances, right? So any regulatory deferral account balances that must be recognized in the financial statement. So this is the second disclosure. So the last concept, IFRS 14 set out the disclosure principle or objectives to allow the users to assess, that is in order to understand how the entities will be going to represent the financial statement, on what basis they are going to charge the services, on what basis they are going to charge the services, that we have to understand, so that the IFRS set out the disclosure principle to assess by the users. So this disclosure principle objective allow the users to assess the various nature and kind nature and scope and risk, that is various risks are associated with the rate regulation activity by an entity, that is how the companies will be going to establish the prices, on what basis they are going to charge the prices to its customers, that is by an entity, and how these charges can be paid by the customer for the goods and services. Okay, so this includes the information about the entities rate regulation activities, that is regarding how they going to charge, how they going to regulate the rates based on the unit price or units used by an entity, based on the quantity of consumed the goods and based on the quantity of services they consumed. So these informations must be disclosure, so it ultimately helpful to the user to assess the nature and risk evaluation and to planning or plan of action and to regulation of the established prices, that is on what basis and how they going to charge the prices to its customers, right? So second disclosure, the effects of rate regulation on the entity's financial statement. So IFRS 14 set out the disclosure principle to assess by the user. So ultimately these users can understand how the rate regulations will be effect on the entity's financial statement. By seeing financial statement, it is the only the objective it ultimately represent according to the standard, it ultimately helpful to the users to understand in a proper manner. So exactly it can be measured and represent and recognize the deferral account balance in a clear cut in financial statement. So this ultimately helpful to the users that includes the basis on which regulatory deferral account balances are recognized. The same thing, this ultimately helpful to the users on what basis the regulatory deferral account balances are recognized by an entity. It must be easily understandable by the users when company discloses the financial statement effectively, and how they are assessed for recovery of a reconciliation of carrying amounts at beginning and end of the reporting period, and it also helpful to the users how an entities must be recovery the balanced payments, that is recovering the unbalanced payments from the customers, what principles will be going to follow to reconcile, to changing the carrying amounts, to collecting the carrying amounts by the customers. So what strategy can be used by an entity, how they are going to recover the balances from its customers. So this will be understandable by the users by studying and analyzing the financial statement which must be represented by the using and adopting the accounting principles or accounting policies of IFRS 14. And one more thing, discount rates applicable and income tax impacts and details. Discount rates applicable and income tax impacts and details of balances that are no longer considered recoverable and reserves. And ultimately it is also IFRS 14 disclosure also helpful to the users to understand the effect of income tax, that is discount rates applicable for the services, and what type of discount rates and how they going to charge the discounts, what are the conditions to avail the discount rates from an entity by the customer, and how the income tax will be affect on these charges, and the details of balances are most helpful to the users to understand the exact picture of the business organization and to assess their credit worthiness. That is, only the company presents the informations, each and every line of informations in the financial statement as per IFRS 14 or previous generally accepted accounting principle.